gorgeous. The sun is out. This weekend, I noticed the sun was out. It's been gone so long, I forgot what it looked like. That was a bright spot for me. How was your holiday weekend? I heard you had a birthday also, right?
I did. Thanks for sharing that, Tony. I'm happy to, take another trip around the solar system here. That's always a
Hmm.
blessed thing. I know that we're in the middle of February here, so the weather can get us down, but we got some good things going on in multifamily investment advisors that kind of keep me in an upbeat kind of mood, you know. Um,
Awesome.
how about yours, Tony? How was your weekend?
It was a good weekend. Yeah, I was hanging out a little bit, hanging out with the wife. Got out a little while, moved around the city a little bit, and
Okay,
it was a good time. We
that is
are
amazing.
actually on YouTube. I couldn't figure out how to do us on Facebook, so I'm on my iPad
YouTube
today.
is
Yeah.
YouTube is just fine. How's everybody doing in YouTube world? I I think their platform is growing to be almost a giant, the likes of Facebook. To be quite honest with you,
All right.
exciting prospects on there.
Good to see
How's
you
it?
over there, Kevin. What's going on with the capital markets?
Oh man, good to see you too, Tony. Appreciate it, man. I've showed up on time this time. But yeah,
Yeah.
everything is great, man. Like I said last week, it's flush with capital, man. So we're just trying to push this money out here and trying to build it because it's an opportunity now because the lenders want to get the money out early, and so they kind of, looking at deals a little bit differently. Um, I've been seeing a lot of value add opportunities, which I'm able to get done. So definitely, you guys reach out if you have any questions. I'd love to be add value to what you're trying to accomplish in your goals this year.
All right. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us what company you work for. So what I noticed about this, like the one last week, there wasn't a lot of people on the calls,
Yeah.
but after the call, there was like, I don't know, over 100 and something people that watched the video. So
Oh,
they can
gotcha.
catch up and they can find out,
Yeah.
where to find you, what kind of deals you're working on. Tell us about the
Yeah.
last deal you closed and a little bit
Yeah.
about your team.
Yeah. So basically, guys, I've been a lender for over 25 years. I've done everything under the sun in terms of from residential all the way up. So currently, I work for Bank Financial, a commercial banker. We do deals starting at 300,000 plus. We do portfolio deals that we keep in-house, and we do capital markets deals that we have correspondent relationships with. We also do value add opportunity where if your property needs a little bit of rehab, say you got a property, a multifamily you're looking at, and it's say 60, 70% occupied, and you want to put some value add, we'll do that under a 1 or 2 year line of credit. We do some bridge financing. So we're very flexible. We flush with cash right now. We're looking to put it on the streets. And also I do some syndication financing also. I closed about 3 or 4 deals towards the end of last year where we did the financing for a syndication group. So yeah, I mean, we have a lot of
How's
different.
that work and how'd that come together? Tell me a little bit about that.
So on that particular deal, there were two, I believe it was two general partners, and then they had about 3 or 4 silent partner investors. So the key to doing those deals is just structuring it properly up front. And so I was able to work with an attorney that structured the deal. And these were had some value add too also. So what we did was we escrowed the money that for the renovations, and we closed the deal at 75% loan to value, escrowed the money for the renovations, and we're able to get that done under the LLC. So it's just a matter of structuring it properly up front.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And then So I closed that. I got a couple deals closing next week. A lot of people starting to do cash out refis so they can get build up their reserves to acquire more property. I'm doing a mixed use in the West Loop right now. I got 2 small value add deals on Marquette in the city. The other thing I want to point out, I got a couple of deals where a lot of out of town investors are coming in. And I want to bring that point up because as it gets to be really tricky. The deal I have now, these guys, it's like 3 of them. They all from California. But we do those type of deals. The problem is that these guys don't have experience. So if you're gonna do a deal or partner up with someone out of state, make sure someone has boots on the ground with experience. It's not that we don't like those deals, but if you live in California, how you gonna manage a value add rehab and you have no one here with a vested interest? So that's a critical piece that I think a lot of investors overlook. They think, oh, I got this, guy with capital out in another state, and I should be able to do this deal, but it's not that simple.
Right.
Hey, Kevin, that's an interesting point that you raised there. I would ask, since the advent of the pandemic and, carrying on as we've seen the peaks and valleys throughout, your pool of individuals trying to get access to capital, have you seen a change in the proportion of out-of-town investors that consists of? Like, have you seen more out-of-towners or less?
Yeah, that's a great question, Vince. And actually, yeah, I've seen a total fluctuation of out-of-town investors. I mean, I've done deals for guys that live in New York, a lot of California, investors, because, obviously out there, the pricing is just astronomical. So they look for other markets to invest in. And on top of that, everybody wants to invest in Texas and Atlanta. I think that's starting to get a little bit saturated when, at least they're not finding good opportunities there. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of investors pour capital into the States and in Chicago, because in Chicago, we have a lot of good deals where we have some decent cap rates. So yeah, I don't know how you can connect with a lot of these out of town investors, but I am seeing it.
Definitely.
What about
Right
Cody?
on.
You were talking about the accessory dwelling unit ordinance. Can you tell us about the new program with the accessory dwelling units? And I think there's a new development on the horizon in Bronzeville.
I'm
Can
sorry,
you give us
Tony,
any insight into those?
I'm sorry, Tony, you talking about, what was that again?
I was talking to, Cody was talking
Oh.
about the accessory dwelling unit ordinance and the pilot program for the city of Chicago. Can you give us any insight into that, the boundaries or the rollout of that? And also, you mentioned earlier about a new development coming to the Bronzeville community.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me one quick second here. So we have the ADU pilot program for the city. There's 5 zones kind of scattered across Chicago, in which ADUs, or accessory dwelling units, or Chicago's calling them ACUs, that are a lot easier to get approved now through the city, to include coach houses, garden units, and below level units, essentially. The city is still requiring them to be brought up to code. So we have a lot of units that aren't up to code, and they're just been kind of flying under the wire. I know my personal experience, or in Little Village, we've had a lot of ADUs, but they weren't exactly tall enough. I was ducking down. There's one entrance with a padlock on it. That stuff's not going to fly. But in order to push the affordable housing, Chicago is on board pushing pushing ADUs, but they have to be brought up to code. Oh, forgive me here. In regards to the ADUs, there's the 5 areas, and I can link to a website a little bit later. I use Chicago Cityscapes that paints a nice, pretty boundary for that. But you also have the option to apply for a variance, but in order to get started on renovations and whatnot, it's gonna take a little bit of time, probably 3-4 months before you can get rolling if you don't fall in an ADU area. But yeah, it's a great way to force appreciation to our buildings already, and it's great to see Chicago on board with it. There's a lot of criteria that need to be met as far as what can be charged for, or what kind of rents can be charged for those units. But all in all, it's going to be a value add for a lot of Chicago investors.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to do screen sharing for you, Travis.
Thank you.
Trying to figure out how to do the screen sharing for you, but I think.
Thank you for that.
Cody, do you have any information on that you can share?
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't mind, drop your email in the chat box. I'll get that over to you in a bit.
Awesome. I can't do it. I don't know. I'm on my iPad and I can't figure out how to do that, Travis. But yeah, so there is, it looks like there's a Bronzeville Lakeview. There was a development that's coming out. They're still going through the entitlement phase. It looks like they just got a zoning designation that would enable them to do the construction, but the project at the earliest wouldn't be broken ground on until they wouldn't break ground until like 2023. And which is exciting. There's a lot of Southside development going on right now. It will be a 78 million square feet commercial institution with mixed use income housing and senior housing. It seems like a massive undertaking, but you know, city of Chicago, there's probably going to be a lot of moving parts, and then a second phase that will come in later on. So some exciting things happening on the south side of Chicago. Hopefully it'll drum up some more additional business and increased activity. I heard that the Obama Foundation got through a major hurdle recently on the and should pave the way for them breaking ground at some point later this year. I was talking to one developer about it, some investors that are invested heavily in that community, and they weren't so excited about it. They were saying, hey, we've been hearing about the Obama Library for the last 8 years and nothing's really happened yet. So there's that side of the coin, and then there's the side of the coin that's exciting. Somewhere in the middle is where something will happen. I'm excited about that. We're seeing some encouraging signs in the marketplace as far as just to give a little bit of an update as far as what we're seeing. We're seeing investors coming back into the market. As am I cut out? We're seeing some. You hear me just fine? Okay, yeah, we're seeing some investors coming back into the marketplace, and still excited about the city, even though there's some challenges. Yeah. Pardon? You hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, even though there's some challenges with some of the
Clear.
Okay, cool. With some of the what I would call unbalanced legislation coming out, we know we're bracing for increased property taxes. Rents are pretty much flat, if not going backwards in certain areas some landlords in downtown Chicago and some of the north side communities are making huge rent concessions. I'm hearing as much as 4 and 5 months to get tenants through the doors. And it's encouraging that we still have a large group of investors looking to get into the city. With that said, some lenders are getting a little bit more, pulling back a little bit more and underwriting the properties. In my experience, they're dotting the I's and crossing the T's a lot more than they were a year ago. In some instances, asking for some additional reserve requirements and really taking a look to update things as far as the marketplace is concerned. So I think Travis just pulled up that map showing the ADU zones in the pilot program. This is an encouraging program for the city of Chicago, which we all know that there's an affordable housing crisis in the city and the nation. And bringing back gives landlords the ability to build coach houses. It gives property owners, I should say, the ability to build coach houses. Also to request to add units to basement apartments, add in basement apartments, and maybe even start to use some of this retail that's been vacant for years in these south and north side communities. And what happens if you bring a basement unit online that hasn't been in service for the last 50 years, or create a new basement unit, that is what's naturally recurring affordable housing, because that basement unit is going to be a little bit less expensive than the other units in that building, and a little bit less expensive just by nature of some of the other buildings in the community, apartments in the community. If you rent them out, which adds more units, you add more affordable housing, which begins to ease some of the pressure that we've been seeing. Also, adding additional units increases the tax base a little bit, so the property taxes may increase a bit as well, which is another thing that we've been seeing as a challenge with the real estate, with real estate in Cook County. So I'm excited to see these units coming in. I'm excited to see the city of Chicago taking an important first step. Hopefully this program will be successful. We'll have some wins where they'll expand it into other parts of the city. Right now, some owners are excited that they can add additional unit. The prospect of being able to apply to add additional units, I don't believe the applications are open until sometime in March. But I have been hearing a rumbling where property owners are looking at having contractors and having architectural drawings to see what it would cost to add those units and what it takes to put in those applications, which all of that coupled with the excitement of the Bronzeville development, the development that's the Obama Library development, is real exciting news for the south side of Chicago.
Absolutely. And, you know, that news with the groundbreaking of the Obama Library, I would estimate, though it's a redundant thing in this period of time we're in, I think that it's a positive kind of breaking news that will, you know, cause some action to happen. We didn't get a chance to let a lot of people on the call chime in. I think Jason is on the call here. Do we have you, Jason?
Absolutely. I'm here, Vince.
Hey, Jason, did you want to chime in on some interesting recent transactions we've seen in the market?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be happy to touch on that.
All right.
Yeah, and to piggyback off what you were saying, Tony, the North Lakefront does have a significant portion of the ADU pilot map within the borders, which is pretty exciting. Vince, some of those sales that have been, you know, notable over the past few months, which actually highlights some of the points we've been making over the last couple of weeks. The North Lakefront has seen rents kind of go backwards just because of the historical context of the rents being higher than average Chicago rents, and a lot of the demand in the attraction went away for a little while. But the research that we're finding is that vacancy and that demand loss is going to stabilize here in the middle of 2021 and actually kind of eclipse pre-pandemic levels as we get towards next year. But some of the demand that we're still seeing, regardless of the slowdown in activity, we've had some record sales and some pretty high price per unit sales over the last 3 months. One of those was a apartment or actually a redevelopment in Logan Square, and it was an old Boys and Girls Club that was actually renovated and converted into 14 units of pretty much luxury apartments, and that was about 14 units, about $5.4 million, which actually comes out to about $383,000 per unit. And that was one of the top sales over the past 3 months. Even though we had a slowdown in activity, we still are seeing very high price trades in well located areas. And we also had another 31 unit building that was actually closer towards our Lincoln Park area that traded for about $370,000 per unit. And it was a 1031 exchange. So still a lot of activity, still a lot of demand, even though we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown in activity, but things are picking up and activity is still going ahead.
Awesome. Thanks for that. Thanks for that insight, Jason. And that's what we plan on doing every Monday. Thank you guys for tuning in every Monday. If it's noon, Multifamily Investment Advisors will be bringing you a Chicago market update, mid-market update, talking about the news that's happening that's affecting investment properties throughout the city. And thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks, guys.